Hello there, and welcome. Tonight I want to take you somewhere far away from the concerns of your day, somewhere vast and quiet and impossibly peaceful. I want to take you on a journey that requires nothing of you except your presence, your willingness to drift, and perhaps a gentle curiosity about the nature of things. Wherever you are right now, whether you are lying in the soft darkness of your bedroom, resting on a comfortable couch with blankets wrapped around you, or perhaps sitting by a window watching the night settle over your corner of the world, I want you to know that you are exactly where you need to be. There is no rush in what we are about to explore together. There is no test at the end, no information you must remember, no conclusion you must reach. Tonight, we are simply going to wander together, and in that wandering, perhaps we will find something beautiful about our place in the cosmos. Before we drift too far into the darkness between stars, I would love to know where you are joining me from tonight. I imagine listeners from so many different places, so many different time zones, each of you carrying your own version of evening or late night, or those quiet hours before dawn. Perhaps you're in a city where the lights never quite fade, where the glow of a million windows creates its own kind of artificial constellation outside your window. Or maybe you are somewhere rural, somewhere the stars are visible in their ancient abundance, scattered across the sky like dust from some cosmic workshop. Wherever you are, whatever time your clock reads, you're part of this moment, and that matters more than you might realize. If you have found your way here and you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I would gently invite you to do so, not because the numbers matter in any cosmic sense, but because it helps more people find these quiet journeys into the mysteries of space. A simple click, a small gesture, and then we can continue together. And if you feel moved to leave a comment later, telling me where you are listening from and what time it is there, I would love that very much. There is something beautiful about knowing that these words are drifting across the world, finding different ears at different hours, creating a kind of invisible community of nighttime wanderers. Now, let us begin. Let us begin with a question that might seem strange at first, perhaps even unsettling. But I promise you that by the end of our journey together you will see it differently. What if Earth was so small that it did not even count on the universal map? What if our world, this blue and green sphere that holds everything we have ever known and everyone we have ever loved, was so tiny in the grand scheme of things that the cosmos itself did not even notice we were here? It is a question that might initially feel like a wound, like an insult to everything we hold dear. After all, we spend our lives building meaning, creating connections, striving to matter in some way. The thought that none of it registers on the cosmic scale might seem like a reason for despair. But I want to suggest something different tonight. I want to suggest that perhaps our smallness, our cosmic invisibility, is not a tragedy at all. Perhaps it is something far more beautiful, far more liberating than we have ever imagined. You see, we humans have always been obsessed with significance. We build monuments that reach toward the sky. We carve our names into stone. We send signals into space hoping that someone somewhere will notice us. There is something deeply moving about this desire to matter, to leave a mark, to be remembered. It speaks to the profound consciousness that evolution has given us, this awareness of our own existence and our own eventual ending. But tonight, I want to invite you to consider a different kind of significance, one that does not depend on being seen or counted or recorded on any map. Tonight, I want to explore what it might mean to be precious precisely because we are small, to be beautiful precisely because we are overlooked, to be meaningful in ways that have nothing to do with cosmic importance. Imagine, if you will, that you are floating, you are drifting upward, gently, effortlessly, leaving behind the weight of gravity and the concerns of the earth below. You pass through the layers of atmosphere, through the thin blue membrane that separates our world from the void beyond. The noise of civilization fades, the hum of traffic, the chatter of voices, the constant buzz of electronic devices, all of it grows distant and then silent. You're surrounded now by the quiet of space, that profound silence that astronauts have described as almost sacred. There is no sound here, no air to carry vibrations, just the endless dark punctuated by the patient light of distant stars. And as you float there, looking back at Earth, you see it as a small blue marble. Just as the Apollo astronauts once described it, it looks so fragile from here, so impossibly delicate, like a soap bubble that might pop at any moment. all of human history, all of our art and music and literature, all of our wars and loves and discoveries, all of it exists on that tiny sphere. Every person you have ever met, every place you've ever visited, every sunset you've ever watched, all of it is contained on that small, small world. Now imagine pulling back even further. The Earth shrinks, and soon the Moon comes into view, our faithful companion orbiting in its eternal dance. The distance between Earth and Moon, which seemed so vast to the Apollo astronauts who crossed it, begins to look almost intimate from this new perspective. You continue drifting outward, and now the other planets come into view, Mars with its rust-red surface, Jupiter with its swirling storms, Saturn with its magnificent rings. Our solar system reveals itself as a kind of cosmic family, a collection of worlds orbiting around our parent star, the Sun. But even the Sun, which sustains all life on Earth and dominates our sky, is just one star among billions. And as you continue to pull back, the Sun itself becomes just another point of light, indistinguishable from the countless other stars in our galaxy. The Milky Way stretches before you now, a vast spiral of light containing somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Try to hold that number in your mind for a moment. 400 billion stars. If you were to count one star per second, it would take you over 12,000 years to count them all, and each of those stars might have its own family of planets, its own collection of worlds, some of which might harbour life, might harbour consciousness, might harbour beings who are also looking up at their night sky and wondering about their place in the cosmos. Our Sun, our entire solar system, is just one tiny component of this vast galactic structure. If the Milky Way were the size of the continental United States, our solar system would be smaller than a grain of sand. And Earth would be so small that no microscope could detect it. But we are not done yet. The Milky Way itself is just one galaxy among billions. As you continue to drift outward, you see our galaxy become one spiral smudge of light among countless others. The Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large neighbour, swims into view. Beyond it, more galaxies, stretching in every direction, forming clusters and superclusters, connected by vast filaments of dark matter in a structure that astronomers call the cosmic web. The observable universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, each containing billions of stars, each star potentially hosting planets. The numbers become meaningless at this scale. They're too large for our brains to truly comprehend. They become more like poetry than mathematics, gestures toward infinity rather than quantities we can grasp. And here, floating in this unimaginable vastness, we return to our question. What if Earth was so small that it did not even count on the universal map? What if, in some cosmic registry that catalogues the significant objects of existence, our planet was simply too tiny to include? Not because it was rejected or judged unworthy, but simply because it fell below some threshold of noticeability, some minimum size for cosmic relevance. It is a strange thought, perhaps even a disturbing one, but I invite you to sit with it gently, to explore it without fear, because in that thought, I believe, there is hidden something profound about the nature of meaning and the beauty of our situation. Consider how maps work. Any map is a representation, a simplified version of reality that includes some things and excludes others. A map of your city might show the major roads but not every footpath. A map of your country might show cities but not individual houses. A map of the world might show nations but not neighbourhoods. With each increase in scale, more and more detail must be left out. This is not a flaw in maps, it is their essential nature. A map that included everything at full detail would be useless, as large and complex as the thing it was trying to represent. The utility of a map lies precisely in what it chooses to leave out. So what would a universal map include? What scale would it operate at? If such a map were to be useful to some cosmic intelligence trying to navigate the universe, what would be the minimum size for inclusion? Perhaps such a map would only show galaxy clusters, those enormous collections of thousands of galaxies bound together by gravity. At that scale, individual galaxies would be too small to note, mere specks within the larger structures. Our Milky Way, home to hundreds of billions of stars and countless planets, would not appear on such a map. It would fall below the threshold of significance. Or perhaps the map would go even further, showing only the largest structures in the universe, the cosmic filaments that stretch hundreds of millions of light years, the vast voids between them where almost nothing exists. At that scale, even galaxy clusters would be too small to include. The local group, our neighborhood of galaxies, would be invisible. The Milky Way would be less than a whisper. And Earth? Earth would be so far below the threshold of inclusion that the very concept of Earth would be meaningless at such scales. This might sound like a bleak picture, but I want you to notice something. As you float here in the imaginary vastness of space, contemplating your cosmic invisibility, you are still here. You still exist. Your consciousness is still flickering with thought and wonder, and perhaps a pleasant drowsiness as you settle deeper into wherever you're resting tonight. The fact that you might not appear on some universal map does not change the fact that you are reading these words, that your heart is beating, that your breath is flowing in and out of your lungs in its ancient rhythm. Significance, it turns out, is not the same thing as existence. Mattering on a cosmic scale is not the same thing as being real. Let's think about this more gently, more slowly. Consider a single cell in your body. Right now, as you rest there, trillions of cells are working away, performing their intricate functions, keeping you alive. Each of those cells is a complete living entity, with its own metabolism, its own responses to the environment, its own tiny version of birth and death. Some of your cells are dividing right now, creating new cells to replace old ones. Some are fighting off invaders, patrolling your bloodstream for threats. Some are processing the food you ate today, extracting nutrients and energy. Each cell is busy with its own concerns, entirely unaware of your existence as a whole person. To that cell, you do not exist. It does not know that it is part of something larger, something with thoughts and dreams and a name. It simply does its work, lives its brief life, and eventually dies, all without ever knowing that it was part of you. Now, does the cell's lack of awareness diminish its importance? Is the cell less real because it does not understand the larger context it exists within? Of course not. The cell is completely real, completely valid in its existence, completely essential to the larger whole. Without your cells, you would not exist. Without their tireless, unconscious labor, your consciousness would have no home. The cell's lack of cosmic perspective does not make it insignificant. It makes it humble, focused, perfectly adapted to its scale of existence. And perhaps this is how we might think about Earth in the cosmic context. Perhaps we are like cells in the body of the universe, essential in ways we cannot comprehend, meaningful in ways that do not require recognition, real even if we never appear on any map. There is a concept in philosophy called the overview effect, which refers to the cognitive shift that astronauts often experience when they see Earth from space for the first time. Many astronauts have described this as a profound spiritual experience, a sudden understanding of Earth's fragility and the interconnectedness of all life. Edgar Mitchell, who walked on the moon during the Apollo 14 mission, described it as an explosion of awareness, a feeling of universal connectedness. He said that from the moon, international politics looked so petty, and he wanted to grab politicians by the scruff of the neck and drag them 250,000 miles out and say, "Look at that, you son of a bitch." What is interesting about the overview effect is that it does not lead to despair about Earth's smallness. Instead, it leads to a profound love and appreciation for our planet. The astronauts who have experienced it do not return thinking that Earth is insignificant. They return thinking that Earth is precious beyond measure, that our conflicts are absurd, that we should be caring for our world and each other with far more tenderness than we do. This suggests something important about scale and significance. When we zoom out far enough to see Earth's smallness, we do not find insignificance, we find preciousness. The very fragility and tininess of our world, when seen from the cosmic perspective, becomes a source of wonder rather than despair. It is as if the universe is saying, "Look at this tiny blue jewel floating in the endless dark. Look at how improbable it is, how delicate, how beautiful. Is this not worth protecting? Is this not worth loving? Is this not the most amazing thing you have ever seen?" The cosmic perspective does not diminish Earth's value, it reveals it. So perhaps our question needs to be reframed. Instead of asking what it would mean if Earth did not count on the universal map, perhaps we should ask what kind of counting really matters. Perhaps we should ask whether cosmic significance is the only kind of significance, or whether there might be other kinds that are equally valid, equally real, equally beautiful. And as we explore this question together over the hours ahead, I want you to hold lightly to your assumptions about what it means to matter. I want you to be open to the possibility that smallness and preciousness might be the same thing, that invisibility and freedom might be connected, that not counting on the universal map might be the greatest blessing we could ever receive. The night is deep around you now, and the universe is vast and you are small, but you are here. You're breathing. You're wondering about your place in the cosmos, which is perhaps the most remarkable thing any collection of matter has ever done. For billions of years, the universe expanded and cooled and formed stars and planets, and then, on one small world, matter became complex enough to contemplate itself. You are the universe looking at itself in wonder. You are stardust that has learned to ask questions. And whether or not you appear on any cosmic map, this is remarkable beyond words. Let us continue gently into the mystery. Let us explore what it might mean to be so small that we do not even count, and why that might be the most beautiful thing we could ever discover about ourselves. The journey is long and the night is quiet and there is no hurry at all. We have hours ahead of us, hours of gentle wandering, hours of drifting through the darkness between stars. So settle in. Let your body relax, let your thoughts slow down, and let us see what we might find in the spaces between worlds, in the silence between stars, in the profound smallness of our existence. As you lie there, perhaps feeling the weight of your body on the mattress or the cushions, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest with each breath, I want you to consider how remarkable it is that you're here at all. The odds against your existence are astronomical, far larger than the number of stars in the observable universe. Consider the chain of events that had to occur for you to be lying here, listening to these words, contemplating the cosmos. Your parents had to meet, and their parents had to meet, and so on back through countless generations. At every step, countless other possibilities existed, countless other children who might have been born instead. But they were not. You were. Against all odds, against all the randomness of history and biology, you came into existence. You're not just improbable, you are virtually impossible, and yet here you are. This improbability extends far beyond your personal lineage. Consider the chain of cosmic events that had to occur for Earth to exist at all. The Big Bang had to happen in precisely the way it did, with precisely the right conditions for matter to form. The first generation of stars had to live and die, fusing hydrogen into heavier elements and then scattering those elements across space in supernova explosions. These elements had to come together in a particular region of a particular galaxy, forming a new star, our Sun, with a disk of debris around it that would eventually coalesce into planets. Earth had to form at just the right distance from the Sun, with just the right size to hold an atmosphere, with just the right composition to have liquid water on its surface. The Moon had to form, stabilizing Earth's axial tilt and creating tides that may have been essential for the development of life. Life had to arise, which is a mystery we still do not fully understand, and then it had to survive for billions of years, through asteroid impacts and ice ages and mass extinctions. And then, in the last tiny fraction of Earth's history, consciousness had to evolve and culture had to develop, and eventually you had to be born in a particular place at a particular time with a particular interest in cosmic mysteries, so that you would be here tonight, listening to these words. When you consider all of this, the question of whether Earth counts on some universal map begins to seem less important. Because whatever map might or might not include us, the sheer improbability of our existence is staggering. We are not just small, we are miraculous. We are not just insignificant, we are impossible. And impossibility, it turns out, is a form of magic. Let us pause here for a moment, in the gentle darkness, and simply breathe. Let us allow these thoughts to settle, like sediment drifting to the bottom of a still pond. There is no need to grasp or analyze or conclude. There is only the breathing and the darkness and the distant light of stars and the quiet miracle of your existence. The cosmos is vast and ancient, and you are small and brief, and somehow these things are both true at once, and somehow this is beautiful rather than tragic. We will continue our journey soon, exploring more deeply the idea of cosmic maps and what they might include or exclude. But for now, just rest in the wonder of being here at all, in the profound mystery of consciousness, in the gentle night that holds you. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. This is a number so large that it defies comprehension. If you were to count 1 year for every second, it would take you 437 years to count to 13.8 billion. The universe has been expanding and cooling and complexifying for longer than any human mind can truly grasp. And for almost all of that time, Earth did not exist. Our planet is only about 4.5 billion years old, which means that the universe spent more than 9 billion years, the majority of its existence, without Earth. Galaxies formed and collided and merged. Stars were born and lived and died. Entire civilizations, if they existed, might have risen and fallen on other worlds, all before our planet was even a glimmer of possibility in the cosmic dust. We are newcomers here. We are late arrivals to a party that has been going on for billions of years, and life on Earth is even younger. The first simple cells appeared perhaps 3.8 billion years ago, but complex multicellular life did not emerge until about 600 million years ago. Dinosaurs roamed the Earth for about 165 million years, a span of time that dwarfs all of human history. Our species, Homo sapiens, has only existed for about 300,000 years, which is a mere eye blink in cosmic terms. If the history of the universe were compressed into a single calendar year, with the Big Bang occurring at midnight on January 1st, then Earth would not form until early September. Life would not appear until late September. Dinosaurs would emerge on December 25th, Christmas Day, and go extinct on December 30th. The entire history of human civilization would occur in the last few seconds before midnight on December 31st. We're not just small in space, we're small in time as well. And yet, in those brief seconds, look at what we have done. We have painted the caves of Lascaux with images of animals that still move with life after tens of thousands of years. We have built pyramids that have endured for millennia. We have composed symphonies that can move people to tears. We have developed mathematics that can describe the behavior of particles too small to see and galaxies too far to visit. We have sent spacecraft to the outer reaches of our solar system and beyond. We have peered back in time to see the light from the earliest galaxies. We have wondered about our place in the cosmos and asked questions that the universe itself cannot ask. In our brief flicker of existence, we have created meaning and beauty and understanding. Whatever else we are not nothing. Perhaps this is the key to understanding our situation. Perhaps significance is not about size or duration, but about intensity. Perhaps a brief, bright flame is as meaningful as a long, dim glow. Perhaps the question is not how much space we take up or how long we last, but how fully we exist, how deeply we wonder, how completely we love. A single moment of true consciousness might be worth more than an eternity of unconscious existence. A single, genuine connection between two beings might be more significant than the entire mass of a galaxy. Significance, in this view, is not about physics. It is about meaning. And meaning is something that consciousness creates, not something that exists independent of minds. This is a radical thought, and I offer it gently, not as a certainty but as a possibility. What if the universe, for all its vastness, has no inherent meaning? What if the stars and galaxies and cosmic structures are, in themselves, just matter and energy obeying physical laws without purpose or significance? And what if meaning is something that arises only when consciousness appears, only when matter becomes complex enough to wonder about itself? In this view, we're not discovering meaning in the universe, we're creating it. We are the universe's way of becoming meaningful. We are the answer to the question that the cosmos did not even know to ask. If this is true, then our smallness is not a limitation. It is the source of our power. Because we are small, we can be conscious. Because we are brief, we can understand time. Because we are limited, we can experience longing and loss and love. The vast unconscious structures of the cosmos cannot do any of these things. The galaxies do not love. The stars do not wonder. The great cosmic voids do not experience awe at their own emptiness. Only we do. Only consciousness can find the universe beautiful. And in that finding, the universe becomes beautiful for the first time. Imagine for a moment the universe before consciousness existed. Imagine the billions of years when galaxies formed and collided, when stars burned through their fuel and exploded, when planets coalesced from cosmic dust. All of this happened, but no one knew it was happening. No one marveled at a sunset because there were no eyes to see and no minds to appreciate. No one wondered at the vastness of space because there was no one to wonder. The universe was real, but it was not meaningful. It was a magnificent performance with no audience, a beautiful symphony with no listeners, a profound poem that no one could read. And then, somehow, consciousness appeared. Perhaps on Earth, perhaps on other worlds as well, matter became complex enough to be aware of itself. Eyes evolved that could see light. Minds evolved that could contemplate beauty. And suddenly, for the first time in 13.8 billion years, the universe had an audience. Suddenly the sunset meant something. Suddenly the stars were not just balls of burning gas. They were objects of wonder, sources of poetry, points of navigation, symbols of eternity. We gave the universe its meaning. We are not passive observers of cosmic significance. We are the creators of it. This is a humbling and empowering thought at the same time. It is humbling because it reminds us of the tremendous responsibility we carry. We are the keepers of meaning in an otherwise meaningless cosmos. If we were to disappear, the universe would continue, but its meaning would vanish like a dream upon waking. The stars would still burn, but no one would find them beautiful. The galaxies would still spin, but no one would be awed by their majesty. We are custodians of something precious, something that exists nowhere else that we know of, something that the universe cannot create without us. And it is empowering because it means that our smallness does not diminish our significance. It enables it. We are significant not because we are large or powerful or durable, but because we are conscious. Our minds, small as they are compared to the cosmos, are the lens through which the universe sees itself. Our hearts, brief as they beat in cosmic time, are the source of all the love that exists anywhere. Our lives, short as they are the occasions for meaning in a universe that otherwise has none. So perhaps the question of whether Earth counts on the universal map is asking the wrong thing entirely. Perhaps the map metaphor is misleading, because it assumes that significance is a matter of size and location, something that can be plotted on coordinates and measured in spatial terms. But if significance is about consciousness and meaning, then it cannot be mapped at all. It is not a where or a how much. It is a quality of experience, a depth of awareness, a capacity for wonder. And in that case, Earth might be the most significant place in the universe, despite being, or perhaps because of being, so very, very small. The night continues around you, soft and quiet and deep. Perhaps your eyelids are growing heavy now, your thoughts beginning to drift like leaves on a gentle stream. This is good. This is as it should be. There is no need to stay alert or to remember everything we have discussed. The ideas will be here, waiting for you, whenever you return. For now, just let yourself float in the darkness between thoughts, in the silence between words, in the peaceful space between waking and sleeping. We have begun our journey into smallness, and we have found that it is not the prison we might have imagined. Instead, it is a doorway, an invitation to a different kind of significance, one that does not depend on size or duration, but on the quality of experience, the intensity of consciousness, the depth of wonder. In the chapters ahead, we will explore this further, considering what it might mean to be overlooked by the cosmos, what kinds of maps might exist at cosmic scales, and why our invisibility might be the greatest gift we could ever receive. But for now, rest in the knowledge that you're here, you're real, you're conscious, and that is already a miracle beyond measure. The stars are shining somewhere above you. Whether or not you can see them through the ceiling and the clouds and the light pollution of human civilization, the universe is vast and ancient and mostly empty. But here, in this one small place, matter has become aware of itself. Here, in this one small moment, you exist and you wonder, and that wondering is the most precious thing in the cosmos. Whatever maps might or might not include us, this is significant. This is beautiful. This is worth cherishing. Let us continue gently into the mystery. The night is long, and the questions are deep, and somewhere in the darkness between stars, there is a peace that passes understanding. Let us go there together, slowly, quietly, with no hurry at all. We drift now into a gentle speculation, a peaceful imagining of beings who might make maps of everything that exists. This is not a claim that such beings exist. We have no evidence of cosmic cartographers, no signals from universal mapmakers, no indication that anyone or anything is cataloguing the contents of creation. But imagining is one of the gifts of consciousness, and tonight, as you rest in the darkness, we will imagine together. We will wonder what it might be like to map the cosmos. What choices would have to be made? What would be included and what would inevitably be left out? And in this wondering, perhaps we will discover something about our own situation, our own place in the vastness, our own potential invisibility on scales we can barely comprehend. Imagine, if you will, a consciousness so vast and so ancient that it has existed for billions of years. Perhaps it arose in the early universe, in some hot, dense region where conditions were right for complexity to emerge. Perhaps it has spread across galaxies, incorporating new matter and new information as it expands. Perhaps it thinks in timescales that would seem like eternities to us, each thought taking millions of years to complete, each decision the product of observations spanning eons. We cannot truly imagine such a mind, any more than an ant can imagine a human mind. But we can gesture toward it. We can create a placeholder in our imagination for something so far beyond us that it might as well be a god. And imagine that this vast consciousness, for reasons we cannot fathom, has decided to map the universe. Perhaps it seeks understanding as we do. Perhaps it needs navigation to send parts of itself across the cosmic distances. Perhaps it is simply curious, driven by the same impulse that leads us to explore and catalogue our own world. Whatever the reason, it has undertaken the immense project of creating a universal map, a representation of everything that exists across the observable universe and perhaps beyond. What would such a map look like? What would it include? And what would it have to leave out? These are the questions we will explore gently together as the night deepens around you and your body relaxes into rest. Any map, as we discussed earlier, is a simplification. It must be, because the territory it represents is infinitely complex, and a map that captured all that complexity would be useless. It would be as large and unwieldy as the territory itself. So the cosmic cartographer, however vast its mind, would have to make choices. It would have to decide what matters enough to include and what can safely be left out. It would have to choose a scale, a level of detail, a purpose for the map. And in those choices, we might find ourselves included or excluded, visible or invisible, significant or utterly beneath notice. Let us consider the scales at which such a map might operate. At the largest scales, the universe has a structure that astronomers call the cosmic web. If you could step outside the universe and look at it from the outside, a physical impossibility but a useful thought experiment, you would see a vast network of filaments, long strands of galaxies and dark matter stretching across billions of light years, connected at nodes where galaxy clusters form, surrounding enormous voids where almost nothing exists. This structure formed in the early universe, as tiny fluctuations in the density of matter grew over billions of years into the web we see today. It is the largest structure in existence, the skeleton of the cosmos. If the cosmic cartographer were mapping at this scale, showing the overall structure of the universe, individual galaxies would be far too small to include. The Milky Way, with its hundreds of billions of stars, would be a single point in a vast network, indistinguishable from countless other galaxies in its filament. It would not be labelled or highlighted or given any special attention. It would simply be one of trillions of similar points, part of the general texture of the cosmic web. And Earth, of course, would be utterly invisible at this scale. Our entire solar system would be invisible. Our entire region of the galaxy would be invisible. We would be so far below the threshold of inclusion that our existence would be literally unrepresentable. This is the first way in which we might not count on the universal map, not through any judgment of our worthlessness, but simply through the necessities of scale. At the level of cosmic structure, individual planets are not just small, they are meaningless, in the sense that they have no impact on the patterns being mapped. Whether Earth exists or not makes no difference to the shape of the cosmic web. We are too small to influence the large-scale structure of the universe, and therefore we do not appear on any map that is concerned with that structure. But perhaps the cosmic cartographer is interested in smaller scales as well. Perhaps it creates multiple maps, each at a different level of detail, like the way we have maps of continents and countries and cities and neighbourhoods. Let us imagine a map at the galactic scale, one that shows individual galaxies as distinct objects. At this scale, the Milky Way would appear, along with the other galaxies in our local group, Andromeda, the Triangulum galaxy, the large and small Magellanic Clouds, and a few dozen smaller dwarf galaxies. The cartographer might note the shapes of these galaxies, their sizes, their positions relative to each other, the gravitational dance that is slowly drawing the Milky Way and Andromeda together for an eventual merger billions of years in the future. But even at this scale, individual stars would not appear. A galaxy is not mapped as a collection of stars but as a single object, characterized by its overall properties, its mass, its luminosity, its shape, its velocity. The individual stars that make up the galaxy are too numerous and too similar to warrant individual inclusion. They are the texture of the galaxy, not its features. And if individual stars do not appear on the galactic scale map, then individual planets certainly do not. Earth is not just invisible at this scale, it is inconceivable. The concept of a planet does not exist at the level of galactic cartography, so let us go smaller still. Let us imagine a map at the stellar scale, one that catalogues individual stars within a galaxy. This is ambitious, to say the least. The Milky Way contains somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars, and mapping each one would be a monumental undertaking even for a cosmic intelligence. But let us imagine that the cartographer has done it, has created a vast database of every star in every galaxy, cataloguing their positions, their masses, their luminosities, their life stages. At this scale, our Sun would appear. It would be one entry among billions, a medium-sized yellow dwarf star in the outer regions of a spiral galaxy, unremarkable in almost every way. There are billions of stars very similar to our Sun, and the cartographer would have no particular reason to pay it special attention. And what about planets? Here we reach an interesting question. Does the cosmic cartographer care about planets? If the purpose of the map is navigation, then perhaps not. Planets are small and do not significantly affect the paths that a traveller might take between stars. If the purpose is understanding galactic dynamics, then certainly not. Planets are negligible in terms of mass compared to their parent stars. But if the purpose is something else, if the cartographer is interested in life, or in complexity, or in rare configurations of matter, then planets might be worth noting. As of now, we have detected thousands of planets orbiting other stars in our galaxy. We call them exoplanets, and we have discovered them using various techniques. Watching for the dimming of starlight as a planet passes in front of its star, detecting the wobble of a star caused by an orbiting planet's gravity, and sometimes even directly imaging the planets themselves. These discoveries have revolutionized our understanding of planetary systems. We now know that planets are common in the universe, that most stars probably have planets, that there may be more planets than stars in our galaxy. This is wonderful news for the question of life in the universe, but it also has implications for our question about cosmic maps. If planets are common, then they are not special. If nearly every star has planets, then the existence of planets is not remarkable enough to warrant individual attention on a cosmic map. It would be like mapping every grain of sand on a beach, technically possible perhaps, but pointlessly detailed for most purposes. The cosmic cartographer, if it cares about planets at all, might simply note that planets exist, that they are common, that they have certain general properties. It would not need to catalogue each one individually, and Earth in this scenario would be just one of trillions or quadrillions of planets, one grain of sand on an infinite beach. Too common to be notable and too small to matter. But wait, perhaps Earth is not just any planet. Perhaps Earth is special in some way that would catch the cartographer's attention. After all, Earth has life. Earth has consciousness. Earth has beings who ask questions about their place in the universe. Surely that is worth noting even on a cosmic map. This is a hopeful thought, and it is worth considering carefully. Let us think about what it would mean for a cosmic cartographer to be interested in life. Life, as far as we know, is rare, or at least we have not yet detected it anywhere except on Earth. This might be because life is genuinely rare, or it might be because we have not looked hard enough, or it might be because life is common but takes forms we do not recognize. We simply do not know. But let us imagine, for the moment, that life is rare enough to be worth noting on a cosmic map. Would Earth then appear? The answer depends on how the cartographer detects life. If it is looking for the chemical signatures of life, the presence of oxygen and methane in an atmosphere, for example, which on Earth are produced by living organisms, then perhaps it could detect Earth from across the galaxy. These biosignatures are one of the ways we hope to detect life on exoplanets in the future, using powerful space telescopes to analyze the light passing through their atmospheres. But detecting such signatures from cosmic distances is extraordinarily difficult. The Earth is a tiny dot next to the Sun, and the light from our atmosphere is a tiny fraction of the light from that tiny dot. From the distance of even the nearest stars, our biosignatures would be almost impossible to detect. And from galactic distances, they would be completely impossible. The cosmic cartographer, even with instruments beyond our imagination, might not be able to detect the subtle chemical hints of life on a small rocky planet, orbiting an unremarkable star in the outer arms of a spiral galaxy. We might be alive, we might be conscious, we might be the most remarkable thing in our region of space, and still we might be invisible, not overlooked deliberately, not judged insignificant, but simply undetectable by any means the universe provides. This is a humbling thought, but also a strangely peaceful one. It means that our invisibility is not a failure or judgment. It is simply a fact of physics and scale. We're too small and too quiet to be noticed across cosmic distances. We are like a whisper in a thunderstorm, like a candle flame in the full blaze of the sun. We are real and we are present, but we are below the threshold of detection. Perhaps the cosmic cartographer has a different method, though. Perhaps it is interested not in detecting life from a distance, but in cataloguing planets that might potentially harbour life. In that case, it might note planets in the habitable zones of their stars, the region where temperatures are right for liquid water to exist on the surface. Earth would certainly qualify for such a list. We are in the habitable zone of our Sun, with abundant liquid water and a protective atmosphere. If the cartographer is interested in habitability, Earth might make the cut, but here again, we face the problem of abundance. There are estimated to be billions of potentially habitable planets in our galaxy alone. The habitable zone is not a rare place. It is common, and planets in that zone are common. If the cartographer is listing habitable planets, it might have a list of billions of entries, and Earth would be just one among them. There would be no particular reason to highlight us, or to give us special attention. We would be one more potentially habitable world in a galaxy full of them, one more roll of the cosmic dice that might or might not have resulted in life. And if we extend this thinking to the entire universe, the numbers become even more staggering. With trillions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, each star potentially hosting planets, the number of potentially habitable worlds might be counted in the sextillions or septillions. Numbers so large that they have no meaning to human minds, numbers that reduce any individual planet to absolute statistical insignificance. In such a sea of possibilities, Earth is less than a drop. We are a molecule in an ocean, an atom in a mountain, a single beat in a cosmic heart that has beaten countless times before and will beat countless times after. So perhaps the cosmic cartographer, if it exists, does not include Earth on its map. Perhaps we are too small, too common, too quiet to warrant inclusion. And the strange thing is, this might not be a bad thing. Consider what it would mean if we were noticed. Consider what attention from a cosmic intelligence might bring. In science fiction, we often imagine contact with alien civilizations as a momentous event, a turning point in human history. Sometimes this contact is benevolent, wise aliens sharing their knowledge and technology with us, lifting us up to join a galactic community. Sometimes it is malevolent, hostile aliens coming to conquer or destroy us, against which we must struggle for survival. But in either case, contact changes everything. We're no longer alone, no longer free to develop at our own pace, no longer masters of our own destiny. But what if being overlooked is a form of protection? What if our invisibility on the cosmic map is like the obscurity of a small village in a world of empires? Empires rise and fall, wage wars and make conquests, but the small village, beneath the notice of the great powers, goes about its life in peace. It may not be important in the grand sweep of history, but its people live and love and die without being caught up in conflicts beyond their understanding. There is a freedom in insignificance, a safety in being too small to matter. Of course, this is speculation, imagination, a gentle thought experiment as we drift together through the night. We have no evidence that cosmic cartographers exist, no indication that anything is mapping the universe or deciding what counts and what does not. But the thought experiment is useful because it helps us consider what significance might mean at cosmic scales, and whether our ordinary assumptions about importance and relevance still apply when we zoom out far enough. Let us shift our imagining now from the question of whether we would be included on a cosmic map to the question of what the map would be for, because purpose shapes every map, and the purpose of a cosmic map would determine what it includes and excludes. Imagine that the cosmic cartographer is creating a map for navigation, a way to travel between stars or galaxies. In that case, the map would focus on the locations of massive objects, the gravitational influences that would shape a traveler's path, the hazards to be avoided and the waypoints to be used. Such a map would include stars and black holes and galaxy clusters, but it would have no reason to include planets. Planets do not significantly affect the trajectory of a spacecraft traveling at interstellar speeds. They are too small, their gravitational influence too weak. A navigation map would treat the space around a star as essentially empty, because for navigational purposes it is. Earth would not appear on such a map, not because it is unimportant to us, but because it is irrelevant to the purpose of navigation. Imagine instead that the cartographer is creating a map for resource extraction, identifying places where matter and energy could be harvested. Such a map might focus on stars as energy sources, on asteroid belts and planetary systems as sources of raw materials, on gas giants as sources of hydrogen and helium. In this case, planets might appear, but they would be valued for their material content, not for their life or their beauty or their meaning to their inhabitants. Earth would be one small rocky planet among billions, notable perhaps for its water and its moderate gravity, but not particularly special compared to countless similar worlds. Our presence, our consciousness, would be irrelevant to a resource map. We would be inventory, not individuals. Imagine that the cartographer is creating a map for scientific understanding, a comprehensive model of how the universe works, what it contains, how it evolved. Such a map might include everything at every scale, from the cosmic web down to individual atoms, but it would organize this information according to scientific principles, not according to what matters to any particular observer. Planets would be examples of gravitational accretion, life would be an example of complex chemistry, consciousness would be an example of information processing. Nothing would be special, because the scientific perspective treats all phenomena as equally worthy of study. Earth would appear on such a map, but only as one data point among countless others, one example of processes that occur throughout the universe. Now imagine something different. Imagine that the cosmic cartographer is creating a map for meaning, identifying places where significance exists, where consciousness has arisen, where the universe has become aware of itself. This is a different kind of map entirely, one that does not reduce to physics or chemistry or even biology, one that attempts to capture something that cannot be measured with instruments or described with equations. If such a map were possible, Earth might shine brightly on it. Our small world, with its billions of conscious beings, its rich tapestry of cultures and languages and ways of understanding, might be a beacon in the cosmic darkness, a rare and precious point of light in an otherwise unconscious universe. But here we encounter a profound difficulty. How would the cartographer detect meaning? Meaning is not a physical property. It does not emit radiation or exert gravitational force. It cannot be observed from a distance or measured with instruments. Meaning exists only in the experience of conscious beings, and that experience is private, internal, inaccessible to any outside observer. The cartographer might be able to detect the physical correlates of consciousness, the complex arrangements of matter that seem to support it, the behaviors that seem to indicate it, but it could not directly observe meaning itself. It would have to infer meaning from indirect evidence, and that inference would always be uncertain. Perhaps this is why we might not appear on the universal map of meaning, not because we lack meaning, but because our meaning is invisible from the outside. We shine brightly in our own experience, but that brightness does not propagate through space, does not travel at the speed of light to reach distant observers, does not leave traces that could be detected and catalogued. Our meaning is real but local, profound but private, significant but unseen. This is a melancholy thought in some ways, but also a liberating one. It means that our significance does not depend on being recognized by others. We do not need to appear on any cosmic map to be meaningful. Our meaning is self-generated, self-sustaining, real in and of itself, regardless of whether anyone else knows about it. We are like a beautiful flower blooming in a hidden forest. The beauty is real whether or not anyone sees it. The universe is enriched by our existence whether or not the universe knows it. And perhaps this is the deepest lesson of the cosmic cartographer thought experiment, that maps are always incomplete, that they always leave things out, and that the things left out are not necessarily less real or less important than the things included. Every map is a perspective, a choice, a way of seeing that illuminates some things and obscures others. The cosmic cartographer, however vast and wise, would still be limited by its own perspective, its own purposes, its own ways of seeing. It would create a map that reflected its values and interests, not the absolute truth of what matters in the universe. And if that map did not include Earth, it would not be because Earth is truly insignificant. It would be because the cartographer was looking for something else, something that our kind of significance does not match. We might imagine other cartographers, with other purposes, creating other maps. A cartographer interested in beauty might include Earth for its blue oceans and swirling clouds, its sunsets and rainbows, its endlessly varied landscapes. A cartographer interested in creativity might include Earth for its art and music, its stories and discoveries, its constant generation of new ideas and new forms. A cartographer interested in love might include Earth for the deep connections between its beings, the care that parents show for children, the loyalty of friends, the passion of lovers. There are as many possible maps as there are possible purposes, and on some of those maps, Earth might be the most significant place in the universe. The night is deep now, and perhaps you are drifting between waking and sleeping, between thought and dream. This is a good place to be, this threshold between states, this liminal space where the mind can wander freely without the constraints of waking logic. Let your thoughts float like clouds across a night sky, like leaves on a slow-moving river, like dust motes in a beam of starlight. There is no need to hold on to anything, no need to remember or analyze or conclude. The ideas will be here when you wake, or they will have transformed into something else, something uniquely yours, shaped by your dreaming mind. Consider, as you drift, the strangeness of being a mapmaker yourself, because that is what you are, in your own small way. Every day, you create maps of your world, mental models of your home, your neighborhood, your city, your relationships, your life. These maps are incomplete, as all maps must be. They include some things and exclude others, based on what you pay attention to and what you ignore. Your map of your kitchen includes the location of the coffee maker, the rhythm of your morning routine, the way the light falls through the window at different times of day. It does not include the individual atoms that make up the countertop, the quantum fluctuations in the electromagnetic field, the cosmic rays passing through the room at this very moment. You leave these things out, not because they are unreal, but because they are not relevant to your purpose, which is to make coffee and start your day. In the same way, the cosmic cartographer's map would leave things out, perhaps including galaxies and stars while excluding planets, perhaps including matter and energy while excluding meaning and consciousness. This is not a flaw in the map or a failure of the cartographer, it is simply the nature of maps. They are tools for specific purposes, not complete representations of reality. And the things left off the map continue to exist, continue to matter, continue to be real in their own domain, regardless of whether any map acknowledges them. So perhaps the question, what if Earth was so small it didn't even count on the universal map, is asking the wrong thing. Perhaps the better question is, what maps do we want to be on, and why? Because we have a choice about this. We can strive to be significant in ways that might be recognized at cosmic scales, building massive structures, emitting powerful signals, expanding our presence across the solar system and beyond. Or we can strive to be significant in ways that matter to us, regardless of whether anyone else notices, creating beauty, pursuing truth, caring for each other, living with integrity and compassion and joy. The first path leads to a certain kind of achievement, one that might be visible to hypothetical cosmic observers, one that might earn us a place on the universal map. The second path leads to a different kind of achievement, one that is invisible from the outside but profoundly meaningful from the inside, one that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us, even if it leaves no trace in the cosmic record. Perhaps both paths have value. Perhaps we should strive for both cosmic relevance and personal meaning, outer achievement and inner fulfillment. But if we had to choose, if the universe forced us to pick one or the other, I suspect that most of us would choose meaning over recognition, would rather be truly significant in our own experience than merely visible on some cosmic map. And this, perhaps, is the secret that the cosmic cartographers do not know. They can map the physical universe with perfect accuracy, catalogue every galaxy and star and planet, trace the filaments of the cosmic web and the orbits of distant moons. But they cannot map what matters most, because what matters most is not a physical property. It is a quality of experience, a depth of connection, a richness of meaning that exists only in the minds of conscious beings. We are the keepers of something the cartographers cannot see, something the maps cannot include, something that is nonetheless the most precious thing in the universe. Rest now in that thought as the night wraps around you like a gentle blanket. You're small, and you're invisible to the cosmic cartographers, and that is perfectly okay. You're the keeper of meaning in a universe that does not know how to find it. You're the source of significance in a cosmos that cannot measure it. You're more important than the maps will ever show, because importance is something you carry within you, not something that is bestowed from outside. The cosmic cartographers work on, in our imagination, mapping their vast territories, cataloguing their enormous databases, creating representations of a universe that will never quite capture everything. And here, on a small blue planet that does not appear on their maps, life continues, consciousness wanders, meaning blooms in every moment of genuine experience. The cartographers do not know about us, and perhaps they never will. But we know about ourselves, and that is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything. Let us drift on through the quiet spaces between thoughts, through the gentle darkness of this night that holds us. There is more to explore, more to wonder about, more gentle mysteries to consider as you sink deeper into rest. The cosmic cartographers will wait, frozen in our imagination, while we turn our attention to new questions, new possibilities, new ways of understanding our small and precious place in the infinite. The stars are patient and the night is long, and somewhere in the spaces between worlds there is a peace that we are only beginning to understand. Let us go there together, slowly, gently, with no hurry and no fear. The maps do not include us, and we are free. We come now to a contemplation of distances and times so vast that they seem to dissolve into silence. The universe is not just large, it is large in a way that exceeds all human capacity for understanding. The numbers we use to describe cosmic scales are accurate, in a technical sense, but they do not convey the reality of what they represent. They are like words in a foreign language that we can pronounce, but not truly understand. Tonight, we will try to feel these distances rather than merely know them, to let the vastness wash over us like a gentle wave, to find peace rather than terror in the infinite silence of space. Begin by considering the nearest star to our Sun. It is called Proxima Centauri, and it is about 424 light-years away. A light-year is the distance that light travels in 1 year, moving at the constant speed of 186,000 miles per second. In 1 year, light covers about 5.88 trillion miles. So Proxima Centauri is about 25 trillion miles from here, a number so large that it conveys nothing to human intuition. Let us try to make it more tangible. If you could drive a car at highway speed, say 60 miles per hour, non-stop 24 hours a day, it would take you about 48 million years to reach Proxima Centauri. That is longer than the time since the dinosaurs went extinct. That is longer than the entire history of human evolution. That is longer than any human endeavor has ever lasted or ever will last. And Proxima Centauri is the nearest star to us. It is our closest neighbor in the cosmic darkness, and it would take 48 million years to drive there. The fastest spacecraft we have ever built is the Parker Solar Probe, which at its closest approach to the Sun reaches speeds of about 430,000 miles per hour. At that speed, faster than any human has ever traveled, faster than any object we have ever created, it would still take about 6,600 years to reach Proxima Centauri. That is longer than recorded human history. That is longer than the time since the pyramids were built, since the first cities arose, since the invention of writing. Our fastest technology, is almost comically slow compared to cosmic distances, and Proxima Centauri is just the beginning. The Milky Way galaxy, our home, is about 100,000 light-years across. At the speed of the Parker Solar Probe, it would take about 155 million years to cross our galaxy. The nearest large galaxy to us, Andromeda, is about 2.5 million light-years away. At Parker Solar Probe speeds, it would take about 4 billion years to get there, nearly as long as the Earth has existed, and Andromeda is right next door, cosmically speaking. There are galaxies billions of light-years away, so distant that the light we see from them today left them before Earth even formed. These distances are not just large, they are isolating. The speed of light is the cosmic speed limit, and even at that impossibly fast pace, the universe is too large to cross in any reasonable time. Even if we could travel at the speed of light itself, it would take 4.24 years to reach the nearest star, 100,000 years to cross our galaxy, 2.5 million years to reach Andromeda. The universe is not just vast, it is unreachable. Most of it is forever beyond our grasp, separated from us by distances that no technology we can imagine could ever bridge. And here is the strange thing. Between all these stars and galaxies there is almost nothing. Space is not crowded, it is almost entirely empty. If you were to pick a random location in the universe, the overwhelming probability is that you would find yourself in the void between galaxies, in a darkness so complete that you could not see a single star with the naked eye. The nearest galaxy might be millions of light-years away. You would be alone in a way that is almost impossible to imagine, floating in an emptiness so profound that the word empty seems inadequate. Even within galaxies, space is mostly empty. The stars that seem to crowd the night sky are actually separated by vast distances. If you were to travel from our Sun to Proxima Centauri, you would pass through nearly 25 trillion miles of essentially nothing. There might be a few atoms of hydrogen per cubic centimetre, the thin haze of interstellar gas, but compared to the density of matter on Earth, it would be a vacuum more perfect than anything we can create in a laboratory. The space between stars is empty in a way that earthbound experience cannot prepare us for. This emptiness is the context in which we exist. We live on a small planet, in a small solar system, in a galaxy that is one of trillions, separated from other galaxies by voids that are almost completely empty. The universe is not a crowded place. It is a lonely one. Matter is rare. Planets are rare. Life, as far as we know, is extremely rare. Consciousness might be the rarest thing of all. We are islands of complexity in an ocean of emptiness, brief flickers of organization in an entropy-dominated cosmos. And yet, there is something peaceful about this vastness. The very distances that isolate us also protect us. The voids between galaxies are too large for any danger to cross in less than millions of years. The emptiness of space means that the nearest threats are very far away. We are sheltered by distance, cocooned by light years, wrapped in a blanket of cosmic isolation that keeps us safe from most of what the universe might throw at us. Consider too the silence of this vastness. There is no sound in space because there is no air to carry vibrations. The explosions of supernovae, the collisions of galaxies, the mergers of black holes, all of these happen in perfect silence. If you were floating in the void between galaxies, you would hear nothing. Even your own breathing would be the loudest sound, and if you removed your helmet, even that would disappear into the vacuum. The universe is not just empty, it is quiet. It is a silence so complete that it approaches the sacred, a stillness so profound that it seems to hold meaning in itself. This silence is not the absence of something, it is a presence. It is the presence of space itself, of the vast dark canvas on which the stars are painted. It is the presence of time, stretching back billions of years and forward into an unknown future. It is the presence of possibility, of all the things that might exist in the places we have not yet looked. The cosmic silence is pregnant with mystery, full of questions we have not yet learned to ask. When we think about Earth not counting on the universal map, we should think about this silence. We are surrounded by it, embedded in it, floating in it like a soap bubble in an infinite dark ocean. The silence does not judge us or diminish us. It simply is, as it has been for billions of years, as it will be for billions more. We are small voices in this great silence, brief songs in an eternal quiet, and there is something beautiful about that. Let us think now about the silence of time as well as the silence of space. The universe is not just vast in extent, it is vast in duration. It has existed for 13.8 billion years, a span of time so enormous that human history is less than a single heartbeat by comparison. If the age of the universe were a 24-hour day, human civilization would have existed for less than a second. Our entire technological era, from the first tools to artificial intelligence, would be a fraction of that second. We are not just small in space, we are brief in time, and yet the universe was silent for most of that time. For nearly 400,000 years after the Big Bang, the universe was so hot and dense that light could not travel through it. There were no stars, no galaxies, no planets, just a seething plasma of elementary particles. Then, as the universe cooled, atoms formed and light was released for the first time. This light is still traveling through the universe today. We call it the cosmic microwave background, and it is the oldest light we can see. After that first light, the universe entered a period called the Dark Ages, lasting several 100 million years. There were no stars yet. The first stars had not yet formed. The universe was dark and cold and silent, waiting for gravity to pull the first clumps of matter together into the nuclear furnaces that would become stars. Imagine that darkness, that vast, empty waiting. No consciousness existed to witness it. No eyes had evolved to see. The universe simply was in its cold, dark silence for hundreds of millions of years. Then the first stars ignited, piercing the darkness with their light. These first stars were enormous, perhaps hundreds of times more massive than our sun, and they burned hot and bright and brief. They lived for only a few million years before exploding as supernovae, scattering the heavy elements they had forged in their cores across the cosmos. These elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, gold, are the building blocks of planets and of life. We are made of this stellar debris. We are, as Carl Sagan said, star stuff contemplating the stars. More generations of stars were born and died, each one enriching the cosmic medium with heavier elements. Galaxies formed, vast collections of billions of stars swirling together in gravitational dances that continue to this day. Within these galaxies, solar systems formed around new stars, and planets coalesced from the debris. On some of those planets, conditions were right for chemistry to become biology, for matter to become alive. And on at least one planet, our Earth, life evolved into consciousness, and consciousness evolved into wonder, and wonder led to questions about our place in the universe. All of this happened in silence. The stars do not speak. The galaxies do not communicate. The vast processes of cosmic evolution unfold without commentary or explanation. We are the first, as far as we know, to give voice to the universe, to ask questions about what it all means. We are the universe's way of breaking its own silence, of putting words to the wordless processes that created us. And this is perhaps the deepest significance of our existence. Not that we are large or important or visible on any cosmic map, but that we are conscious. We are the universe becoming aware of itself. We are matter that has learned to wonder. In a cosmos of silent stars and empty voids, we are the ones who speak, who ask, who marvel. This is not nothing. This is perhaps everything. Consider what it means for the universe to contain consciousness. For billions of years, the cosmos evolved without any awareness of its own existence. Stars burned and died, galaxies formed and collided, planets condensed and were destroyed, all without any witness, any appreciation, any understanding. The universe was like a vast artwork with no one to see it, a symphony with no one to hear it, a story with no one to read it. Beautiful perhaps in some objective sense, but that beauty had no meaning because there was no one for whom it could mean anything. Then consciousness appeared. We do not know exactly when or how, but at some point matter became complex enough to be aware of itself. Perhaps it happened many times on many worlds, or perhaps it happened only once here on Earth. We do not know. But when it happened, something fundamental changed. For the first time, the universe had a perspective. For the first time, there was an experience of the stars, not just the stars themselves. For the first time, beauty meant something, because there was someone to find it beautiful. This is the mystery and the miracle of consciousness, and it is worth pausing here to appreciate it. You, lying there in the darkness, listening to these words, are a conscious being. You have experiences, thoughts, feelings. You can wonder about your place in the universe. You can feel awe at the vastness of space and time. These are not trivial capabilities. They are perhaps the most remarkable things that matter has ever done. The hydrogen atoms that were formed in the Big Bang, the carbon atoms that were forged in the hearts of stars, the complex molecules that assembled themselves into living cells. All of this evolution, all of this cosmic history has led to this, a being who can lie in bed at night and contemplate the infinite. And this being, this you, might not appear on any cosmic map. You're too small, too brief, too quiet to register at cosmic scales. But you're not insignificant. You are the universe experiencing itself, which is perhaps the most significant thing that has ever happened anywhere. The cosmic cartographers might not include you, but that is their limitation, not yours. They are mapping the outside of things, the surfaces and distances and masses. They cannot map the inside, the experience, the meaning, and that is where the true significance lives. Let us return now to the silence of space, and let it comfort us rather than frighten us. The vast distances between stars mean that we're alone in a sense, but they also mean that we are free. No cosmic authority is watching us, judging us, imposing rules on how we should live. The universe does not care about us in the sense that it has no preferences about our existence, but this indifference is not cold, it is simply neutral. It leaves space for us to create our own meaning, to decide for ourselves what matters. Imagine if the universe were crowded with advanced civilizations, all watching each other, all competing for resources and territory. Imagine if every action we took was observed by beings far more powerful than us, beings who might judge us or interfere with us, or decide our fate according to their own values. This might seem exciting, but it would also be constraining. We would not be free to develop at our own pace, to make our own mistakes, to find our own way. We would be children in a universe of adults, always watched, always evaluated, never truly autonomous. But in the silent universe we actually inhabit, we are alone with ourselves. The vast distances ensure that even if other civilizations exist, they cannot easily reach us or monitor us or control us. We have the privacy of isolation, the freedom of being overlooked. We can make our own choices for better or worse without cosmic supervision. This is terrifying in some ways. There is no one to save us if we make catastrophic mistakes, but it is also liberating. We are the authors of our own story, the creators of our own meaning, the shapers of our own destiny. The silence of space is also an invitation. It invites us to fill it, to send our own signals into the void, to reach out in whatever ways we can. We have already begun to do this. We have sent spacecraft beyond our solar system, carrying messages from Earth. We have broadcast radio signals that are now traveling outward at the speed of light, carrying traces of our existence into the cosmos. We have built telescopes that can see the most distant galaxies, bringing their light to our eyes after journeys of billions of years. We are making our presence known, in our small way, and who knows? Perhaps someday, somewhere, something will notice. But even if nothing ever notices, even if our signals disappear into the void without ever being received, even if we remain forever invisible on the cosmic map, we will have spoken into the silence. We will have made our mark, however small and brief. We will have said, we were here, we wondered, we reached out. And that perhaps is enough. That perhaps is the only significance we need. As you rest there in the quiet of your room, let the cosmic silence settle around you like a blanket. It is not an emptiness to be feared. It is a presence to be appreciated. It is the context of your existence, the background against which your life unfolds. You're a small voice in a great silence, and that smallness does not diminish you. It is simply what you are, what all of us are, what consciousness is in the face of the infinite. Let your breathing slow, and let your thoughts gentle. The universe is vast and old and mostly empty, and you are here, now, alive, aware. These two facts are both true, and they do not contradict each other. You can be small and precious at the same time. You can be brief and meaningful at the same time. You can be invisible on the cosmic map and still be the most significant thing you know. The night continues around you, and the stars continue their silent burning, and somewhere in the depths of space, light is traveling toward us from places we will never visit, from times before we existed. This light will arrive eventually, bearing information about the distant past, and perhaps we or our descendants will receive it and learn from it and wonder at it. The universe is always sending us messages in its silent way. We just have to learn how to listen, and perhaps that is our role in the cosmic story, to be the listeners, the wanderers, the ones who pay attention. In a universe of unconscious processes, we are the consciousness. In a cosmos of physical laws, we are the meaning. In an infinity of silence, we are the ones who speak, even if only to ourselves, even if only in the privacy of our own minds. This is not nothing. This is something extraordinary. Rest now in the extraordinary ordinariness of your existence. You are made of star stuff, forged in the hearts of suns that died before the Earth was born. You are the product of 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution, the latest chapter in a story that began with the Big Bang. You're small and brief and invisible at cosmic scales, and you are precious beyond measure. Both of these things are true. Let them both be true together as you drift towards sleep. The cosmic silence holds you, as it holds all of us, as it has held the universe since the beginning. It is patient and vast and utterly indifferent, and in that indifference there is a strange kind of peace. Nothing is demanded of you by the cosmos. No cosmic purpose obligates you. You are free to be what you are, to find your own meaning, to create your own significance. The silence does not judge, it simply is. And in that silence, you are. You exist, you experience, you wonder. This is the miracle that no cosmic map can capture, the significance that no cartographer can catalogue. You are the universe's secret, its hidden treasure, its way of knowing itself. Sleep now, small and precious consciousness, and dream of stars that have never been seen, of worlds that have never been visited, of silences that hold mysteries beyond counting. The cosmos is vast and you are small, and that is exactly as it should be. The journey continues, but there is no hurry. The night is long and the silence is deep, and somewhere in the darkness between stars there is a peace that passeth all understanding. We will find it together, step by gentle step, breath by patient breath. For now, just rest. Just breathe. Just be. The silence will hold you as it holds all things until the morning comes. There is more to explore, more distances to contemplate, more silences to appreciate. The cosmic web stretches across billions of light years, and we have barely begun to trace its filaments. The void between galaxies yawns empty and dark, and we have only glimpsed its depths. The story of the universe unfolds across timescales we cannot comprehend, and we are only beginning to understand our place in it. But that is for later. For now, the silence is enough. The darkness is enough. Your breath, your heartbeat, your gentle drift towards sleep, these are enough. The cosmic cartographers work on in our imagination, and the vast scales of the universe stretch beyond comprehension, and somewhere in all that immensity you exist, small and bright and precious. That is the truth that matters. That is the significance that no map can deny. The night continues and we continue with it, drifting through the silence, wondering at the scale, finding peace in the vastness that contains us. There is no end to this journey, only deeper exploration, only new mysteries, only ever more gentle descents into the quiet heart of things. Rest now. The silence holds you. The cosmos turns, patient and vast, and somewhere in its endless depths, there is a place for you, whether or not any map has marked it. You are here, you are present, you are aware, and that is everything. We have barely begun to explore the silence. There are depths within depths, scales beyond scales, mysteries folded into mysteries. The space between galaxies is vast, but the space between atoms is vast too, in its own way. The silence of interstellar space is profound, but so is the silence of a sleeping mind, drifting between thoughts, floating on the edge of dreams. Scale is relative, and silence is everywhere, and meaning hides in the places we least expect. In the chapters ahead, we will continue to explore what it means to be small, what it means to be overlooked, what it means to exist on a world that might not count on any universal map. We will consider the threshold of visibility, the point below which things simply do not register on cosmic instruments. We will wonder about the beauty of being overlooked, the freedom that comes from insignificance, the peace that descends when we stop striving to matter and simply let ourselves be. But for now, we rest in the silence we have discovered, the silence of space, the silence of time, the silence of vast distances and empty voids. It is not a hostile silence. It is simply the background of existence, the canvas on which all things are painted. We are small figures on that vast canvas, barely visible, barely lasting, barely significant by cosmic standards, and yet we are here. We are wondering. We are experiencing the silence rather than merely existing in it. That is the difference that consciousness makes. The silence is the same whether or not anyone experiences it, but the experiencing changes everything. It makes the silence meaningful. It makes the vastness beautiful. It makes the emptiness pregnant with possibility. We are the witnesses, the appreciators, the ones who turn mere existence into significance. The cosmic cartographers might not include us on their maps, but we include the cosmos in our awareness. And that is a form of mapping too. Sleep now, gentle wanderer, and let the silence hold you. The cosmos is vast and you are small, and somewhere in the space between those two truths, there is a peace that you are only beginning to discover. We will find it together in the hours ahead as we continue our gentle journey into the mysteries of scale and significance. The night is deep, the stars are silent, and you are exactly where you need to be. We continue now, gently, into deeper waters of contemplation. You have been resting with me through the vast silences of space, through the incomprehensible scales of cosmic distance, through the strange and beautiful realization that our small world might not register on any universal map. And now I want to take you somewhere even more interesting, somewhere that exists only in the imagination but that might tell us something profound about the nature of existence itself. I want to explore with you the idea of a threshold, an invisible line that separates what is seen from what is unseen, what is counted from what is overlooked, what matters at cosmic scales from what slips beneath notice like a whisper beneath the roar of thunder. Imagine, if you will, that there exists somewhere in the fabric of reality a kind of cosmic cutoff, a minimum size or significance below which things simply do not register. This is not a physical law that we have discovered. It is a thought experiment, a gentle speculation to help us understand our situation. But consider how such thresholds work in our everyday experience, and perhaps you will see that the idea is not as strange as it first appears. Think about your own perception. Right now, as you lie there in the comfortable darkness, your senses are receiving an enormous amount of information. Light is entering your eyes, even if your eyes are closed, the faint glow of the room, the subtle variations in shadow. Sound is entering your ears, your own breathing, perhaps the hum of appliances, perhaps the distant sounds of the world outside your window. Your skin is sensing temperature and pressure, the weight of blankets, the texture of your pillow, the gentle currents of air in the room. Your body is sensing its own position in space, the pull of gravity, the slight tensions and relaxations of your muscles. But you're not aware of all of this information. Your brain is constantly filtering, selecting, deciding what to bring to your conscious attention and what to leave in the background. The feel of your clothes against your skin, for example, is something you probably were not thinking about until I mentioned it just now. It was there, it was being sensed, but it was below your threshold of conscious awareness. Your brain had decided that it was not important enough to notice, not relevant enough to bring to your attention. It existed, but it did not count, in the sense that it was not part of your conscious experience. This is how thresholds work. They are not denials of existence. They are simply boundaries of attention, lines that separate what is noticed from what is ignored. And they are necessary. If you were consciously aware of every sensation your body was experiencing, every piece of information your senses were receiving, you would be overwhelmed. You would not be able to function. The threshold of consciousness is what allows you to focus, to prioritize, to deal with the most important things while letting the less important things fade into the background. Now, scale this up to the cosmic level. Imagine a consciousness vast enough to perceive the entire universe, a cosmic awareness that could, in principle, notice everything that exists. Such a consciousness, if it existed, would face the same problem you face: too much information. The universe contains something like 10 to the 80 atoms, a 1 followed by 80 zeros. It contains trillions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, each star potentially hosting planets, each planet containing countless smaller structures. No consciousness, however vast, could attend to all of this at once. Even a cosmic mind would need thresholds, boundaries of attention, ways of filtering the important from the unimportant. And here is the key question. Where would such thresholds be set? What would count as important enough to notice, and what would slip beneath the cosmic awareness like the feeling of your clothes against your skin? We cannot know the answer to this question, of course. We do not know if any cosmic consciousness exists, and if it did, we could not know what it would choose to pay attention to. But we can speculate gently, imaginatively, as a way of exploring our own situation. And one very plausible speculation is that planets like Earth would fall below the threshold. We are simply too small, too quiet, too unremarkable in cosmic terms to warrant attention from any awareness operating at universal scales. Consider what the cosmic consciousness would be dealing with. It would be perceiving the birth and death of stars, events that release more energy in seconds than our sun will produce in its entire lifetime. It would be witnessing the collision of galaxies, vast gravitational dances that take hundreds of millions of years and involve hundreds of billions of stars. It would be tracking the growth of supermassive black holes, objects that contain the mass of billions of suns and shape the evolution of entire galaxies. It would be observing the expansion of the universe itself, the stretching of space that carries galaxies apart faster than light can travel between them. In this context, what is Earth? A small rocky planet orbiting an unremarkable star in the outer regions of an ordinary spiral galaxy. We do not produce significant amounts of energy by cosmic standards. We do not significantly affect the dynamics of our galaxy. We do not emit signals that would be detectable at intergalactic distances. We are, from a cosmic perspective, almost perfectly quiet. If there were a cosmic threshold of significance, a minimum level of activity required to attract attention, we would almost certainly fall below it. And yet, and this is the beautiful part, we exist. We are real. We are here. The fact that we might not register on cosmic awareness does not make us any less present, any less alive, any less filled with meaning and experience. We are like the feeling of clothes against skin, unnoticed by the larger consciousness perhaps, but completely real in our own domain. The threshold does not deny our existence. It simply means that our existence is our own, private, unobserved by the larger processes of the cosmos. Let us sit with this idea for a moment, letting it settle like sediment in still water. You are resting there, breathing gently, perhaps drifting between waking and sleeping, and all around you the universe is going about its business without noticing you. Stars are being born in distant nebulae. Galaxies are spinning in their slow gravitational dances. Black holes are growing at the centers of quasars. The cosmic microwave background is still cooling, the afterglow of the Big Bang fading imperceptibly toward absolute zero. All of this is happening, and none of it knows about you. You are below the threshold. But here is the thing. You know about it. You, small and brief and invisible as you are, have learned about these cosmic processes. You have studied the light from distant stars and figured out what they are made of. You have measured the expansion of the universe and deduced that it began in a hot, dense state billions of years ago. You have sent probes to other planets and listened for signals from other civilizations. You, who do not register on the cosmic awareness, have somehow become aware of the cosmos. The threshold works both ways, but in our case, we have found ways to see past it, to know things that should be beyond our scale, to understand processes that dwarf us by factors too large to comprehend. This is remarkable. This is perhaps the most remarkable thing about human existence. We are small enough to fall below the cosmic threshold of significance, but we are conscious enough to transcend that threshold through understanding. We cannot affect the cosmos in any meaningful way. Our entire civilization, if it disappeared tomorrow, would leave no trace that could be detected from even the nearest star. But we can understand the cosmos, and in that understanding, we participate in it in a way that mere size and power cannot achieve. Think about what it means to understand something. When you understand how stars work, for example, You're in some sense containing the star within your mind. The actual star is billions of miles away, a vast nuclear furnace that would vaporize you instantly if you approached it. But your understanding of the star, your mental model of fusion reactions and gravitational pressure and electromagnetic radiation, is something you carry with you. Something that is part of your consciousness, something that shapes how you see the night sky. The star is too big to hold, too hot to approach, too distant to visit. But you can understand it, and in that understanding you have a relationship with it that transcends physical proximity. This is the strange power of consciousness. It allows us to transcend the thresholds that would otherwise define our world. We cannot physically reach the distant galaxies, but we can understand them. We cannot survive the conditions at the center of a star, but we can model them. We cannot experience the timescales of cosmic evolution, but we can reconstruct them from evidence. Consciousness is a kind of portal, a way of being present in places and times where our bodies could never go, and this, perhaps, is why the cosmic threshold does not diminish us. Yes, we are too small to register on any cosmic awareness. Yes, our planet might not appear on any universal map. Yes, the vast processes of the universe unfold without any knowledge of our existence. But we know about them, we understand them, we carry the cosmos within our minds, and in doing so we participate in it in a way that no merely large or powerful object can match. The galaxies are large, but they do not know they are galaxies. The stars are bright, but they do not know they are stars. The cosmic web stretches across billions of light years, but it does not know it is a web. Only we, small, brief, invisible we, know these things. Only we have crossed the threshold from existence to understanding, from being to knowing. And that crossing is perhaps the most significant event that has ever occurred in the cosmos, even though it happened on a planet too small to count on any universal map. Let us explore this threshold more deeply, considering not just what it means for us, but what it might mean for the nature of reality itself. There is a philosophical question that has puzzled thinkers for centuries. Does a thing exist if no one perceives it? The famous formulation involves a tree falling in a forest with no one to hear it. Does it make a sound? The question is usually meant to probe our intuitions about the nature of perception and reality, but it takes on new dimensions when we apply it to cosmic scales. Consider all the things in the universe that exist below the threshold of any perception whatsoever. There are atoms in the void between galaxies that have never interacted with anything since the early universe. There are photons traveling through space that will never be absorbed by any object, that will travel forever into the expanding darkness. There are planets orbiting stars in distant galaxies that no consciousness has ever observed or ever will observe. Do these things exist? Of course they do, in a physical sense. They obey the laws of physics, they have mass and energy, they affect the gravitational field of the universe. But they are never experienced, never known, never included in any conscious awareness. They exist below the threshold of all perception. And perhaps Earth is like this from a cosmic perspective. Perhaps we exist, physically and really, but below the threshold of any cosmic perception. The universe is not aware of us in the same way that you are not aware of the individual atoms in your body. We are too small to notice, too quiet to detect, too brief to matter. We are real, but we are hidden, existing in a kind of cosmic shadow, where the larger processes of the universe do not reach. But here is the beautiful paradox. We are aware of ourselves. Even if no cosmic consciousness perceives us, we perceive ourselves. Even if we do not register on any universal map, we have created our own maps, our own understanding, our own knowledge of our place in the cosmos. We are the consciousness that the universe lacks. We are the perception that breaks the cosmic threshold from the inside. We are the tree that falls in the forest and then writes poetry about the experience of falling. This is not nothing. This is something extraordinary. In a universe that might have no awareness at all, awareness has arisen. In a cosmos of unconscious processes, consciousness has emerged. In an infinity of unperceived existence, perception has appeared. We are not just small beings on a small planet. We are the universe's way of crossing its own threshold, of becoming aware of its own existence, of knowing itself for the first time. And the strange thing is, we do not know if this has happened anywhere else. We do not know if consciousness is common in the universe or rare, whether other beings on other worlds are also crossing the threshold of awareness, whether the cosmos is waking up in many places or only here. We have searched for signals from other civilizations and found nothing. We have scanned the skies for signs of intelligence and detected only natural processes. The silence of the universe, which we explored in the previous chapter, extends to this question as well. We do not know if we are alone in our awareness, or if others are out there, equally invisible, equally below the cosmic threshold, equally wondering about their place in the scheme of things. Perhaps there are many worlds like ours scattered through the cosmos, each one too small to register on any universal map, each one the site of consciousness and meaning and wonder. Perhaps we are part of a vast hidden community, a fellowship of the unseen, all of us existing below the cosmic threshold, all of us carrying the universe within our minds even as the universe fails to carry us within its awareness. This is a comforting thought, in its way, the idea that we are not alone in our invisibility, that others share our situation, that the cosmic threshold hides a multitude of wonders beneath its indifferent surface. Or perhaps we are alone. Perhaps consciousness is so rare, so improbable, so dependent on specific conditions, that Earth is the only place it has ever arisen. Perhaps the universe has been unconscious for 13.8 billion years, and we are its first and only awakening. Perhaps the threshold of cosmic perception has never been crossed before, and we are the pioneers, the first beings to know what the universe is and how it works. This is a lonelier thought, but also a more significant one. If we are the only consciousness, then we carry a tremendous responsibility. We are the universe's only chance to know itself, and if we fail, the cosmos might remain forever unconscious, forever unperceived, forever below its own threshold. We cannot know which of these possibilities is true. The universe keeps its secrets well, and the distances between stars are too vast for easy communication. But we can hold both possibilities gently, letting them inform our sense of who we are without forcing us to choose between them. Whether we are one of many or the only one, we are precious. Whether others share our situation or we are unique, we matter. The threshold of cosmic perception does not diminish our significance. It highlights it. We are the beings who have crossed the threshold from the inside, who have achieved awareness in a cosmos that does not know how to achieve it on its own. Let us turn now to a more personal application of this threshold idea. You, lying there in the darkness, are a being who exists at many different thresholds simultaneously. You are below the cosmic threshold, too small to matter at universal scales. But you are above many other thresholds. You are large compared to atoms, long-lived compared to mayflies, significant compared to the bacteria that live in your gut. Every level of organization has its own thresholds, its own boundaries of what counts and what is overlooked. Consider your own body. It contains trillions of cells, each one a living entity with its own processes and its own existence. Most of these cells will never rise to your conscious awareness. They will live and divide and die without your ever knowing about them. They are below your threshold of perception, existing in a kind of biological shadow where your consciousness does not reach, and yet they are essential. Without them, you would not exist. The cells that fall below your threshold are the very foundation of your existence at the level where thresholds matter to you. Perhaps the cosmos is like this. Perhaps Earth and worlds like Earth are the cells of some larger organism that we cannot perceive. Perhaps we are essential to processes that we cannot imagine, serving functions that make sense only at scales far beyond our comprehension. Perhaps our invisibility at cosmic scales is like the invisibility of cells at the human scale. Not a mark of insignificance, but a sign that we are operating at a different level of organization, serving purposes that are real even if they are hidden from us. This is speculation, of course. We have no evidence for any cosmic organism or larger purpose. But the thought experiment is useful because it reminds us that thresholds are relative. What is visible at one scale is invisible at another. What matters at one level of organization is irrelevant at another. The fact that we are below the cosmic threshold does not mean we are absolutely insignificant. It means we are significant at a different scale in a different way for different reasons. And this is freeing, in a strange way. If we are not competing for significance at cosmic scales, then we do not need to worry about failing that competition. We can focus on the scales where we do matter, the human scale, the scale of relationships and communities and ecosystems. We can build meaning in our own domain without anxiety about how it registers in domains far beyond our reach. We can be content with our own kind of significance, our own kind of mattering, our own kind of presence in the universe. The threshold of visibility is not a judgment. It is simply a fact about how attention works at different scales. The cosmos, if it has any awareness at all, is focused on vast processes. The birth and death of galaxies, the expansion of space, the eventual fate of everything. It does not notice planets for the same reason you do not notice individual atoms. They are too small, too many, too far below the level where attention operates. This is not a rejection of our worth. It is simply the way awareness works when it operates at cosmic scales. And we, operating at our own scale, have our own awarenesses, our own thresholds, our own ways of deciding what matters. We notice each other. We notice sunsets and symphonies, stories and scientific discoveries, moments of connection and meaning. These things are invisible at cosmic scales, but they are everything at our scale. They are the substance of our lives, the texture of our experience, the content of our consciousness, and they are real as anything in the universe, as significant as anything that exists. The night continues around you, soft and quiet. Perhaps your breathing has slowed, your body relaxing deeper into rest. The ideas we're exploring are not urgent. They do not require action or decision. They are simply contemplations, gentle wanderings, ways of seeing our situation that might bring peace rather than anxiety. You are below the cosmic threshold, and that is okay. You are invisible to the universe, and that is okay. You are small and brief and utterly unremarkable at cosmic scales, and that is okay. Because at your own scale, you are everything. At your own scale, you're the center of your own universe, the protagonist of your own story, the consciousness that makes your own corner of existence meaningful. This is not selfishness or solipsism. It is simply a recognition of how significance works. We matter to each other, at human scales, in human ways. We do not need to matter at cosmic scales to be valuable. The cells in your body do not need to matter to you consciously, to be essential to your existence. And we do not need to matter to any cosmic awareness to be essential to whatever larger processes might depend on consciousness, on meaning, on the strange miracle of matter knowing itself. Rest in this thought as we prepare to move forward. The threshold of visibility is behind us now. We have explored what it might mean to exist below the line of cosmic perception. Ahead of us lies something even more beautiful, the discovery that being overlooked might be a gift rather than a curse, that invisibility might bring freedom rather than insignificance, that smallness might be the very thing that makes us precious. But there is no hurry. The night is long and the cosmos is patient, and you are exactly where you need to be. Breathe gently, let your thoughts drift, and let us continue together into the beautiful mystery of being unseen. The threshold holds us soft and invisible, and in its shadow we are free. There is something in us that craves recognition. From our earliest days, we reach out for attention, for acknowledgement, for the sense that we matter to someone, that our existence has been noticed and valued. This is not a flaw in our nature. It is how we are built, how social animals survive and thrive, how meaning gets created in the space between conscious beings. We need to be seen by each other. We need to feel that our presence makes a difference, that we would be missed if we were gone, that our small lives ripple outward into the lives of others. But tonight, I want to invite you to consider a different kind of beauty, the beauty of being overlooked, not by each other, but by the vast impersonal processes of the cosmos. I want to suggest that our invisibility at universal scales is not a tragedy to be mourned, but a gift to be appreciated, a form of freedom that most things in the universe do not enjoy, a sanctuary where meaning can flourish precisely because no cosmic attention is shining upon it. Imagine, for a moment, what it would be like to be noticed by the cosmos. Imagine if there were some vast awareness operating at universal scales, some consciousness that perceived galaxies as we perceive objects, that track the movements of stars as we track the movements of people in a crowd. And imagine if this cosmic awareness had noticed Earth, had turned its attention upon our small world, had decided that we were significant enough to observe, to monitor, to take an interest in. What would that attention mean for us? It is hard to say because we have no experience of being observed by anything so vast. But consider how attention works at scales we do understand. When a powerful nation takes an interest in a small one, it is not always a blessing for the small one. When a large corporation notices a small competitor, the attention is often predatory rather than nurturing. When any powerful entity becomes aware of a less powerful one, the less powerful one loses a certain kind of autonomy. It must now take the powerful entity into account, must consider how its actions will be perceived, must navigate a relationship that it did not choose and cannot control. Perhaps cosmic attention would be different. Perhaps a cosmic awareness, if it existed, would be benevolent beyond our imagining, nurturing and protective and wise. Perhaps being noticed by the universe would be like being noticed by a loving parent, a source of security and guidance and care. But we have no way of knowing this. We have no evidence that any cosmic awareness exists, let alone what its character might be. And in the absence of such evidence, we can appreciate the freedom that comes from being overlooked. Think about it this way. Because no cosmic entity is watching us, we are free to make our own choices without external judgment. We can develop our own values, our own meanings, our own ways of understanding the world. We do not have to conform to any cosmic standard or meet any universal expectation. We are not being graded or evaluated or measured by any power beyond our own. Our successes and failures are our own, meaningful to us for our own reasons, not because some cosmic observer has decided they matter. This is a kind of freedom that is easy to overlook, but profound when you consider it. Imagine living in a society where every action you took was monitored by an all-seeing authority, where every choice was evaluated against some external standard, where you could never escape the gaze of judgment. This would be oppressive, even if the authority were benevolent. The constant awareness of being watched changes how we behave, how we think, how we feel about ourselves. It is a weight that never lifts, a pressure that never eases. But we do not live in such a cosmos. The universe, as far as we can tell, is not watching us. The vast processes of stellar evolution and galactic dynamics and cosmic expansion proceed without any awareness of our existence. We are free, in the deepest possible sense. Free to be ourselves without cosmic supervision. Free to create meaning without cosmic validation. Free to fail without cosmic judgment. Free to succeed without cosmic approval. This freedom is the gift of being overlooked. It is not a curse or a punishment. It is an opportunity, a space of possibility, a sanctuary where consciousness can explore itself without external interference. We are the universe's secret, hidden from its own vast processes, left alone to develop in our own way, at our own pace, according to our own values. And there is something beautiful in this, something precious that we might not appreciate until we imagine what it would be like to lose it. Consider the alternative. Imagine that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations existed and had noticed us. Imagine that they were monitoring our development, judging our choices, perhaps even preparing to intervene in our affairs. This is a scenario that science fiction has explored many times, and it is rarely a comfortable one. Even in the most optimistic versions, where the aliens are benevolent, there is a loss of autonomy, a sense that we are not the masters of our own fate, that larger powers are making decisions about us over which we have no control. But the universe has not presented us with this scenario. We are alone, as far as we can tell. The silence of the cosmos, which we explored earlier, is not just an absence of contact, it is an absence of supervision. We are unsupervised children of the universe, left alone in the house while the parents are away, free to make our own rules and our own mistakes and our own discoveries. This might seem frightening. What if we make catastrophic mistakes? But it is also exhilarating. We are responsible for ourselves. We are the authors of our own story. No one is coming to save us, but also no one is coming to control us. Let us think about this in terms of evolution and development. Life on Earth has evolved over billions of years, shaped by natural selection, driven by random mutation and environmental pressure. This process has been entirely unsupervised. No cosmic intelligence has guided evolution toward particular goals or judged particular outcomes. Life has simply done what life does, replicated, varied, competed, adapted, and the results have been whatever the results happen to be. Some species have flourished, others have gone extinct. Some evolutionary paths have led to complexity and consciousness. Others have led to simplicity and stasis. No one was watching, no one was judging, no one was steering. And yet, look at what this unsupervised process has produced. It has produced eyes that can see the light of distant galaxies. It has produced brains that can understand the mathematics of quantum mechanics. It has produced hearts that can feel love and compassion and wonder. It has produced you, lying there in the darkness, contemplating your place in the cosmos. All of this emerged without cosmic supervision, without external guidance, without any plan or purpose imposed from outside. It emerged because the conditions were right, because the laws of physics allowed it, because the universe, in its indifference, created a space where these things could happen. This is the paradox of being overlooked. Freedom and vulnerability, opportunity and risk, the chance to become anything and the danger of becoming nothing. But it is also the condition for genuine creativity, genuine meaning, genuine significance. Things that are controlled from outside can never truly be themselves. They are always expressions of the controlling force. But things that are free to develop on their own, unsupervised and unshaped by external power, can become genuinely new, genuinely original, genuinely their own. Perhaps this is why Earth does not appear on the universal map, because appearing on such a map would mean being noticed, being monitored, being subject to the attention of cosmic forces. And perhaps being beneath that notice is what allows us to be free, to be ourselves, to develop our own forms of meaning and consciousness without external interference. Think about the most precious things in your own life. Think about the moments that matter most to you, the connections with loved ones, the experiences of beauty or insight, the quiet satisfactions of work well done or kindness given. These things are precious partly because they are private, because they belong to you and the people you share them with, because they are not performances for some external audience. If you were constantly on stage, constantly being observed and evaluated, these moments would lose something essential. They would become self-conscious, shaped by awareness of the audience rather than by genuine feeling. Our existence on Earth is like this. We are not on a cosmic stage. We are not performing for some universal audience. Our lives unfold in a kind of cosmic privacy, unseen by any larger awareness, free to be genuine rather than performative. The love we feel for each other is real, not because it registers on some cosmic scale, but because it is felt, experienced, lived. The meaning we create is valid, not because some cosmic authority has validated it, but because we have created it, because it matters to us, because it makes our lives worth living. This is the beauty of being overlooked. It makes room for authenticity. When no one is watching, we can be truly ourselves. When no one is judging, we can explore freely. When no one is grading us, we can learn from our mistakes without shame. The cosmic indifference that might seem cold and lonely is actually the condition for genuine freedom, genuine growth, genuine meaning. Let us consider this from another angle. In many religious traditions, the idea of a watchful God is meant to be comforting. Someone is always watching over us, caring about us, keeping track of our actions and our needs. But in practice, this idea can also be oppressive. If every action is observed by an all-knowing judge, if every thought is transparent to a cosmic authority, then there is no privacy, no freedom from surveillance, no space where we can be simply ourselves without reference to external judgment. The cosmos as we find it does not seem to include such a watchful God. The universe appears to be governed by impersonal laws of physics, not by a conscious overseer. The stars do not care about our moral choices. The galaxies do not judge our behavior. The cosmic background radiation does not keep track of our kindnesses and cruelties. We are on our own, morally speaking. We must decide for ourselves what is right and wrong, what matters and what does not, how we should live and what we should value. This is a tremendous responsibility and it can be frightening. But it is also a tremendous freedom. We are not slaves to cosmic dictation. We are not constrained by universal laws of morality imposed from outside. We are free to reason about ethics, to debate about values, to evolve our moral understanding over time. We can learn from our mistakes, revise our beliefs, improve our behavior, not because a cosmic authority demands it, but because we recognize that it is the right thing to do. Our morality is our own, developed through our own efforts, meaningful because we have created it rather than merely received it. And perhaps this moral freedom is connected to our cosmic invisibility. Perhaps the reason no cosmic authority monitors our behavior is that no cosmic authority exists, or that any cosmic authority that might exist has no interest in the small-scale affairs of beings on a tiny planet orbiting an unremarkable star. Either way, we are left alone with our moral choices, free to be good or bad as we decide, responsible for our own actions in a way that would not be possible if someone were always watching. The night deepens around you, and these thoughts settle gently into your mind. You are not being watched by the cosmos. You are free, in the deepest sense. Your choices are your own. Your meaning is your own. Your life is your own. The universe has not imposed itself upon you, has not demanded anything of you, has not shaped your existence according to some external plan. You are an accident in the cosmic sense, a fortunate accident, an improbable accident, but an accident nonetheless, and that means you are free. Free to make of your existence whatever you choose, free to create whatever meaning seems valuable to you, free to be yourself, genuinely and completely, without reference to any cosmic standard. This is the beauty of being overlooked. Not the loneliness of being forgotten, but the freedom of being unsupervised. Not the tragedy of being insignificant, but the opportunity of being unconstrained. Not the despair of being small, but the gift of being hidden, private, free. Let us explore one more dimension of this beauty, the idea of sanctuary. A sanctuary is a place of safety, a refuge from dangers that exist elsewhere, a protected space where one can rest and recover and be at peace. And perhaps that is what our cosmic invisibility provides, a sanctuary from whatever dangers might exist at cosmic scales, a refuge where we can develop and flourish without interference from forces we cannot understand or control. We do not know what dangers might lurk at cosmic scales. We do not know if there are powerful civilizations that might threaten us, cosmic processes that might destroy us, forces beyond our comprehension that might disrupt our existence. But whatever those dangers might be, our invisibility protects us from them. We are beneath the notice of anything that might wish us harm. We are hidden in the vastness, camouflaged by our own insignificance, safe in our obscurity. This might sound paranoid, as if the universe were full of threats that we should fear. But that is not the point. The point is that whatever dangers might or might not exist, we are sheltered from them by our smallness. We are not players in the great cosmic game if there is such a game. We are spectators at most, and perhaps not even that. Perhaps we are simply unnoticed bystanders, going about our small lives while larger forces clash and compete in ways we cannot perceive. And there is peace in that. There is safety in being beneath notice. There is sanctuary in being overlooked. Think about the small creatures of Earth, the mice and the insects, the birds and the fish. They live their lives largely beneath human notice. We might see them occasionally, might pay attention to them when they intersect with our interests, but mostly they go about their business unseen by us, irrelevant to our concerns. And from their perspective, this is a blessing. They do not have to navigate the complexities of human society. They do not have to worry about our politics or our economies or our wars. They are free in their own domains to live according to their own natures, pursuing their own goals, fulfilling their own purposes. Perhaps we are like this on a cosmic scale. Perhaps there are great powers in the universe, not necessarily malevolent, but simply operating at scales we cannot comprehend, and we are beneath their notice, free from their attention, safe from whatever competition or conflict they might engage in. Perhaps our obscurity is our protection, our smallness is our armor, our invisibility is our greatest asset. This is not a comforting thought in every way. It implies that we are truly on our own, that no cosmic cavalry will come to rescue us if we face existential threats, that we must solve our own problems with our own resources. But it is comforting in another way. It means that we are not targets. We are not pawns in some cosmic game. We are simply ourselves, small and free and hidden, living our lives in the sanctuary of our own insignificance. The beauty of being overlooked is manifold. It is freedom from surveillance, freedom from judgment, freedom from external control. It is the opportunity to be genuine, to develop according to our own nature, to create meaning that is truly ours. It is sanctuary from dangers we cannot imagine, protection through obscurity, safety in smallness, and it is the condition for authentic existence, for lives that are truly lived rather than merely performed. As you rest there in the darkness, breathing gently, perhaps beginning to drift towards sleep, I invite you to embrace this beauty. Embrace the fact that the cosmos does not notice you. Embrace the freedom that comes from being unsupervised. Embrace the sanctuary of your own obscurity. You're not less because you are overlooked. You are more because your existence is your own. Your meaning is your own. Your life is your own. No cosmic authority has claimed you. No universal power has constrained you. You are free in the deepest possible sense to be exactly what you are. And what you are is remarkable. You are consciousness that has arisen from unconscious matter. Your meaning that has emerged from meaningless processes. You are freedom that has evolved from deterministic physics. You are the universe's secret, hidden from its own vast awareness, precious beyond measure in your own small domain. Rest in this beauty. Let it hold you as you drift towards sleep. The cosmos does not see you, and that is not a tragedy. It is a gift. You are the gift. Your consciousness, your experience, your wonder at your own existence. These are the treasures that the universe has produced but does not know it has produced. You are the hidden jewel, the secret garden, the sanctuary where meaning blooms unseen. The night holds you gently, and the stars burn on without knowing you are here, and you are at peace with being overlooked. This is the beauty that smallness offers. This is the gift that invisibility brings. This is the freedom that comes from being so small that you do not even count on the universal map. Sleep now, unseen one. The cosmos will continue without you, and you will continue without its notice. And both of these things are as they should be. You are free. You are hidden. You are home.